and somebody's saying that they can't do the zikr because they found out they've got a jinn on them, which is causing them problems. And with worship and doing zikr. And he just wants to do basic Ruqya to help him. Basic Ruqya is only gonna, if you have spiritual issues like he was saying, the basic Ruqya is not gonna do anything if the treatment is not the right one. It's just like having somebody having cancer, and when they have pain, they're just taking paracetamol. The paracetamol may help you with the pain, but they're not going to do anything to help you with the disease. The disease is going to be there until you find the cure for the right treatment. But the longer you leave it, the worse it gets. It's just like any other disease. The longer you leave it, the worse it gets. Because once you start walking on the spiritual path, and you decide to take a break, and that spiritual path is the right one that you decided to walk on, and you think, oh, I need some break, and then come back. That's the last thing you want to be doing. Because once you take that break, you pretty much give it up. You're finished. So what you're doing is you're trying to cleanse yourself, cleanse your batin, your inner side, your internal life, or your internal system from shaitan's interference. So when you're cleansing yourself from shaitan's interference from inside you, that shaitan's been living, it made your batin as their house to live in. Now if they live inside you for many years, and you decided to remove them, and then you said, oh, I'm halfway through there, or 1/4 through removing them, and I'm going to take a break before I start again. What's going to happen? Just imagine there's someone living in your house, and you're trying to evict them from your house. You started the eviction process. So you're 1/4 into the eviction process, and you say, okay, I'm going to give it a break and come back and start the eviction process from where I left, or start again. What's going to happen?
You have to start again. Erase the subject name. Erase the bit that you've done.
So you've got somebody who's been living there for many years, he doesn't want to leave on his own accord. And you started an eviction process and saying, this is my house and I want you to leave. He doesn't want to leave. And you, with the eviction process, you are forcing them to leave your house. And then you started the process, you maybe 1/4 or halfway through the process, and you take a break and say, I'm gonna come back and start the process. Maybe you'll have to start again. What's going to happen when you come back? Somebody that doesn't want to leave is enjoying inside being inside you. And now you've started the eviction process. And you haven't completed, you haven't evicted them. Because once you evict them, then you have to have security in place to make sure that they don't come back when nobody else comes back into your house. Your body is your house, your spiritual existence is imagined your house. So what happens when you started off and then eventually you end it and start, say, come back up in a few months' time or maybe years' time, and then it'll start again? What's going to happen? Oh, it's an easy answer. Just think about that person who doesn't want to leave the house, and you come back. Choose common sense. What would that person do that you're trying to evict? No. Well, what do you think that person's going to do when you come back? You took them, but you got them by surprise, because they've been living there for many years. They didn't think that you were strong enough to come back, or anybody would come and evict them from the house. But you took them by surprise and started the eviction process. And then now, because it's obviously quite difficult, it's draining your energy. But you said, okay, I'm going to take a break and come back. There's a key word now. We've added an extra word in there to give you a clue what's going to happen. You took them by surprise. They weren't expecting. This is the key word. This is the clue. What do you think they're going to do when you come back? Are they going to allow you to come back? Because this person who's been living there is a very clever one. It's not somebody that you could take lightly. Because when you took them by surprise, they weren't prepared for it. You give them a bit of a chance. What are you giving them now by giving them break? Just imagine you're fighting somebody and you've exhausted them. Yeah, you're tired, but they're tired as well. You come back and once they regain their energy, they regain they're going to regain their strength again and are going to be more prepared because they know how strong you are. So they're going to be a lot more prepared. They're going to get all their friends and family and everybody else involved to help them, support them. You understand what I'm saying? Do you understand? So when you come back again, now you can finish it off. But when you come back, take a break and come back again. They are going to be a lot more stronger because you are leaving with the mindset that because you only coming back, or you've got a mindset that this person that I'm trying to evict is not, his strength is of a certain limit. But now you're trying to come back, their strength is beyond your calculation now. You're going to be confused what to do now. Because you, just like the way you weren't prepared, you're not prepared the second time. The second time you're giving them a chance to regroup and gain more strength. that's the bottom line, because that's their house that they've been living in. They don't want to leave. If you're passionate about something, are you gonna let it go lying down? You're not gonna let it go. Because you see, fighting with your nafs and shaitan at the same time is jihad akbar. It's big as jihad. It's worse than fighting with physical enemy. Because with the physical enemy, against another person, with a group of people or countries, whatever, you can see them. But this enemy is invisible, you can't see him. And if you are at a certain level where you can't even feel them, and you have knowledge, you don't have a great amount of knowledge about them, what kind of tactics they use, then you've got no chance of survival or no chance of doing anything. Because the kind of tricks they use are very subtle. What happens is the nafs enjoys the dunya, and the shaitan becomes his advisor. He appoints shaitan as his advisor. The shaitan advises him, and shaitan knows what nafs likes, and he gives him hope. He becomes his best friend, the best advisor, who thinks about his best interest. The shaitan, comes across to the nafs as his well-wisher. And he advises him. He doesn't come across as his enemy, he comes across as his best friend that you could ever ask for. The Jannat inside is also what the Jannat that he's talking about is also on the same wavelength as the nafs. So he's got, how many enemies has he got? He's got the jinn that is inside him, the nafs, and the shaitan. There could be more than one jinn, could be many. So, this is the battle this is what you're facing. Do you understand? Because you see, the jinn possession is a reality. You've seen it happen. Jinn is not necessarily a shaitan. Because you see, there are jinn and there is shaitan. Yes, jinn is from the same breed as shaitan, but not all the jinns are shaitan. Because there are some jinns who are Muslims as well. There are many jinns who are devious and dangerous as well. They're not necessarily shaitan. Shaitan has a focus to deviate us from the path from Islam. But the jinns don't necessarily have that mindset. They are vicious, they are dangerous, but their aim isn't to make us turn away from Islam. It's just like somebody who's a non-Muslim and he doesn't like Muslims, for example, or he likes Muslims. It could be both of them, but he's not Muslim. But being friends with him, very close friends with him, and trusting him in every way, and doing what they're doing, will eventually lead you away from Islam. But their aim isn't to lead you away from Islam. Their aim is for you to be good friends with them and take part in what they're doing and they take part in what you're doing. They're not necessarily hating Islam, but they will drive you away from Islam indirectly through their actions. Do you understand? Well, again, a non-Muslim could be, he may like Islam. This is I like Islam. I don't have anything against Islam, but it's not something for me. And I want you to be my friend. And then when you hang around with them, then you start doing what they're doing. And the things that they're doing, a lot of them are against Islam. And this is one of the reasons why maybe perhaps they don't want to become Muslim. They don't want to be restricted to certain things. They want to be free. And this is what nafs wants. Maybe nafs wants to be free to do things that he wants. And it's the same scenario with Jannat as well. Because they are living inside us, and because they're traveling through our bloodstream, and their nature affects us, and their nature is rebellious, which is the same of the nafs amara. Somebody, do you understand? Simon, do you understand? Because when you with them, then because this is where taqwa comes in, the element of taqwa. Taqwa is where you imagine walking, and there's in a path where there's all sorts of different things. Some of them are halal, some of them are haram. Ultimately, taqwa means the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when you're walking, there's a beautiful car, and then you walk further down, there's something else. There's something else which is halal you can have as well. Taqwa is to go, but you'll be tempted towards all of them. Every one of the things that you see on your path, and you're all going to be tempting, very, very tempting. And there's nobody stopping you from taking it. And taqwa is where you discipline yourself and you hold yourself back from taking the things that are not allowed in Islam, and only taking what's allowed. And that's going against your desires. Because your desire is to take everything that's on your hook, and nobody's watching you can take it. And taqwa is where you know that Allah is watching you, and He will hold you to account for all your actions. And He will reward you for good and punish you for wrong. And that's where the fear comes in of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you fear Him, that Allah is watching you. And with that fear and hope, it's not just a fear, but also reward as well. There's a fear that Allah will hold you accountable and He will punish you. But at the same time, that He will also reward you. So there's two things. Honestly, the two. Where the reward is there, and then also the punishment. So it's not just the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's also the reward from Him as well, and His pleasure. This is where the taqwa comes in. But if you have, so for example, a jannat who has the same trait as a non-Muslim, and non-Muslim, there are non-Muslim jannats as well. And they have the ability to influence you, then they don't have a belief that, or they don't have the taqwa that you are expected to have, because they don't have a belief in the next life. So they're not gonna, they're gonna encourage you to take whatever you can as long as nobody's watching you. So these are the things that you need to think about in life. Because this life is very short one. And within that life, everything else is going to get determined once we die. And all the things that are coming after this life are not for a small period of time. Yeah, some of them are very, very long time. And some of them are never ending. But they are going to be determined according to how we live life in this dunya.